Imagine yourself with a promising future as a football star, and then one day you find your dreams shattered by a tragic accident. That's what happened to Brian Ludwig from Beloit, Kansas. But his fighting spirit brought him back, and he is now the coach of the team. You might have read his inspiring story in Parade magazine recently. We are proud to have him on our show today. Glad you got up here on the platform.
Yeah, it was quite a trick.
And you get a day off from school today.
Yes, sir. A little extra vacation.
I've got to ask you, first of all, to tell everybody who didn't get a chance to read the story what happened on that day that you were playing college football.
Well, I was the victim of what, in the truest sense of the word, was a football accident. It was simply a question of a collision that took place. I was playing defense at the time, playing linebacker, and was fighting off a hand block from an offensive lineman, and their back made a cut, and I did not see him approaching, and the collision that ensued, unfortunately for me, was not too beneficial to my health, but it was an accidental situation.
And it left you paralyzed from your neck down?
That's correct. I'm quadriplegic, yes.
Now, what a lot of folks don't understand is that at that point then you had to go, well, you were in bed, and you were wired and strapped, and were you in one of those beds that turns you over? And...
I think that most folks aren't too familiar with the medical terminology. Pressure needed to be relieved from the broken bones, which are in the spinal cord, and of course I'm not a medical person, but it was a matter of being confined to a striker frame, which is what it's called, for a period of time.
How long a time?
Too long, as far as I'm concerned. I believe it was something like 8 to 10 weeks, something of that nature.
How did you get where you are today? Because from what I know about the accident, first of all, it's a miracle that you weren't dead on the spot.
That was a strong possibility at the time, yes. Oh,
how did you do it?
That's a long time ago. That's 16 years, and I've had just tremendous people around me. My parents, my family have been just super supportive, and I think that there are lots and lots of people out there that are willing to give an individual a chance if he'll go ahead and accept the challenge and work at something of this nature. And it really isn't, I'm a little bit embarrassed, I think, because it's not that tremendously awesome of a thing to me. It didn't seem like, in the story that you mentioned has generated just an overwhelming response. It's been, well, as I say, I'm more or less in awe. We've heard from people all over the United States, and it's, to me, it doesn't seem that exceptional an accomplishment.
You just wanted to do it.
Seemed like the thing to do at the time, yes. That is pretty easy, I think. If you read the article, I told Dodson, what were my options? You know, they were reasonably limited. It was either do something or don't do anything, and that didn't seem attractive at all to me at the time, so I did something. And as I say, I've had just a tremendous amount of help.
Are you a good coach?
Yes, sir, I am an excellent coach. I have not signed a contract for next fall yet, and I want people to know that I'm a fine coach. Once in a while, I'm a little short of material, but I think we're going to be all right.
Well, why haven't you signed a contract for next fall yet?
Well, you see, we work on a limited basis, and they want to check me out in the spring and see what happens. I don't know. We'll have to
You're going to check you out physically and see how...
Oh, no, that was tongue-in-cheek. I hope.
You hope?
It went 7-1. I don't think I'm in any trouble.
Probably not. How do the kids respond?
Hopefully they respond to me as an individual and as a football coach, and that the disability doesn't affect the situation. I don't plan to let it affect. I don't think about it. I don't consider myself in those terms.
I guess what I want to know is, does it make you a tougher coach? Does it make you harder to play for? Does it make you more or less compassionate? And do you worry more about your kids getting hurt?
No. Now, that part of the question is easier to answer than the first part. First part was tough. I don't know. Obviously, my situation is going to have an effect on my personality, just like it would on anybody's. Any disability, something of this nature, you adapt to your environment. The fact of me worrying about my kids getting injured, no, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, if you will look at the statistics and compare the odds of a young man or woman, in this case, being seriously injured in an automobile accident during the time span that's involved when young people are involved in extracurricular activities is so much greater that it's almost inconsequential. It's unfortunate because, well, one of the reasons that I'm really pleased to be on your program, there isn't a lot of publicity for all the positive things that sports do. And then a story like mine comes up, or you are always reading the rare instance of a high school youth who is seriously injured. And these are the, like, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000 incidents. And you play that against the positive effect that sports have on young people. I don't think there's any comparison. It's definitely a good investment.
I have only half a minute left, but are you also a good teacher?
Yes.
Could I pass your social studies
Yes,
class?
I think you probably could. My classes are very interesting because I'm an interesting person. No, I enjoy the classroom, and we have some fine young people to work with, and it's very enjoyable for me.
Would you do it as well in a big community as you do in a small community?
That's an interesting question. I would like to have the opportunity to find out maybe sometime in the future. There's always a challenge, and they say that possibly bigger is more difficult. I don't know. Kids are kids, from what I can tell.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for taking good care of our kids.
Thank you for having me.
All right.